So, hey guys, and welcome to our sort of draft recap, or not draft recap, or our KCBL recap of the season. As I'll be going through some stuff here. So, as by the way, if you're watching this video and you haven't watched any of the battles I've done, then yeah, this is some heavy spoilers. But I think at this point, you guys pretty much know where this is going, so yeah. So pretty much I want to go and recap the videos we've talked about, or like the battles we've done, in a sense. So yeah. Um, so, for going into this season, like, or this league, one thing I did wanted to say is that I did wanted to try out new Pokemon as much as possible. And on that end, I'm not so sure whether I accomplished that goal or not, but definitely like we were able to do very well throughout the season, so up to a certain point. So yeah, I am on my one of my spreadsheets of all the leagues I've been in, and right now I'm pretty much going through some, like, we're gonna be going through some of the battles maybe if I want to. So you want to see some stuff, but anyways. But going into this league, I wanted to try out as many new stuff as possible, while having sort of a good or strong like team in itself from the beginning. So yeah, as I can say pretty much from the results of the main series of the main season, like, we did pretty well if you think about it. Even though this was a small league of like 12 people, I was able to go like undefeated throughout the whole season. However, there were some points where I think I could have lost for sure. Most notably against probably Blue. I think Blue was probably the best, had the best chance to beat me. Of course, for those of you who didn't watch, we were beaten by Mav in finals, and he did give us our worst win away. Or not worst win, but like kind of the lowest ranking win we've had throughout the season. But I think that was mostly contributed to like Snorlax getting like a paralysis, and you know what? That really just, you know, messed things up. So, so I do have some teams or in mind and whatnot to talk about. So yeah. Um. So I think for this first battle, I think let me see. Yeah, for the first battle, I think I brought like a bunch of I try to like diversify as much as possible. I think against Bear, I do think that our team was very weak from like a very defensive point, so I kind of had to like play around that. So fortunately for me, Reflect type was pretty much really fun to use against the Muck, and I think that was kind of funny because then Latias was able to like break through his team. I did lose out in Goodyear, and then like, and also to degree I think Gorgeous, but I think Stelium, like Crocodile was able to do work here with the fact that they had Stelium Z. So I don't think Manaphy did much. It was there as an option, but you know, it wasn't really needed. So like, it was there just to clean up. So I think I remember having Melting for a while because like I think I wanted to have a more bulkier Cleric's response. But yeah, I think the second battle, I think Manaphy could have just swept. In all seriousness, if I had a Wakanberry, maybe this Manaphy would have swept this whole team like a how. But then again, Birder just kind of picked up the slack and, you know, did his thing. Like you can see right here. I'm not gonna showcase the battle since the links are here if you want to see them. So yeah, want to pause the videos and want to see the links. So yeah. Um, so I think overall for the first few weeks, I think the team was okay up until a certain point. Like I feel like one of the problems with this team in general, I think when I battled I started noticing this when I battled Glysker guy. And that was like the lack of wall breakers. Like I have very strong defensive responses, but I really lacked what I really lacked was wall breakers in general. Like you could see, like I had good defensive responses here and there, like the Florges, the Wheezing, the Latias to a degree, and as well as double Scarfers. I think this week or that week I had like to prep around for like Lopunny, Haxorus, and whatnot. So yeah, I think this battle was just very like I think I remember like I won because, well, I don't know if I won because of the crit, or I don't know whether he went for like Roost afterward, because like if he attacked me while like like this against Gliscor, I think he did give me a run for my money, but I think the Toxic Spikes, I was able to wear him down very, very quickly. And and not to mention, Wazing was crit. So I think if I had like to Intimidate, so if Wazing probably would have been around a little bit longer to help out. But then again, it really comes down to how, whether or not he actually attacked me with the, what do you call it, the Mew on that turn. Instead of, I think he went for Roost instead of like going for the attack, because I think he was like +6 or something like that with Mew with Combine. And I really didn't have a way to, I have no way to break it at the time, so I knew that it was some kind of offensive set, but and it wasn't fully defensive, and that actually helped me win this game. So yeah, so I think I guess you could start saying that problems were very notable around this time, and so in that regard, I made some changes. So I switched Electivire for Rhyperior, Miltank for Bouffalant, and Wheezing for Cofagrigus, and that was like some of the changes I felt that felt necessary. I also did trade Gligar for Rotom, though I don't think Gligar would have done anything, and I think Rotom didn't really do much at all. I don't think I brought it at all throughout the season, as well as Scyther, and I think that was a problem, even for me, because like, Rotom is one of those Pokemon that I just felt that it could have got some shine, especially against Blue, but I felt that within this, with this slow, not slow, but the low season count, it wasn't, and also the team compositions, I felt like Rotom and Scyther and even Rhyperior weren't as good as options. I think surprisingly, like Bouffalant and Cofagrigus were like far better Pokemon to have throughout for my team than the others. So yeah, I think this goes for like game like or week 4 versus Blue. Like again, I brought Combine because yeah, unoriginal Key doing the same thing. So with Psyshock, Dragon Pulse, Combine, and this is honestly where I should have just looked in my team and realized, hey, I shouldn't be doing this, like running Combine extensively. But then again, it's me, so I think I had Toxic on Mons like Heatran, I had Magma Storm, HP Grass. I think that was this. I literally had this just for Barbarical. I remember that was kind of funny. This guy had like I brought Cofagrigus and Wingstop the Bouffalant, which was kind of funny. Like I think Blue was actually able to like blow to remove my Z move like almost immediately, and I think it really came down to like some 50-50s in that battle, and I think if I won that 50-50, got rid of the Blissey, then that game would have been entirely in my favor. Like I remember like bringing a hard. I thought about bringing hard Trick Room with as you can see, I had these 2 Pokemon with Swords Dance, and my Fury was able to do its job for this game. So yeah, but like Rocks and Megahorn, Swords Dance. I think it really came down to Blue, just like whether he wanted to stay in or not. And I think if I had more special attack investment, Latias might have been able to break through Cress or Blissey or whatever. So yeah, I think this game I could have lost this game for sure, but there's not really. But I think Blue switched out, which pretty much gave me the momentum I needed to like win. So yeah. It was a very like hard fought game, but I think Latias was able to lead the pack. I had some very crap turns with Heatran and Fortress, but you know, stuff like that happens. So yeah. And then regarding, I have my battle with Kevin right here, like, because I was like, you know, comparing how much I wanted to bring. So I think I wanted to bring like, I wanted to bring a meme team versus him, but I didn't want to show 2Ks too much. But then I decided, you know what, I might as well just bring Buffalant, because Buffalant actually just two-shots his entire team. And it actually just, like, I think in the battle, it one-shotted Landorus upon rocks, which is just stupid. I know I got the roll. I think it was like a 45-55 if you factor in the crit. It was like a 45% chance I knock out Landorus. But still, like, that's a Landorus that's very, very low. That's even Scarfed. So I'm pretty much two-shotting his entire team with Scarf Buffalant. And this thing just... Buffalant was actually surprisingly good when I brought it. And Crocodile, and as well as like, not Crocodile, but like, Heatran actually did work towards the end game, which was really nice. And Latias did its job with the CM, so yeah. Or just picking off everything. And Manaphy as well, like, kind of bluffing the Dazzling Gleam. Which I think Kevin could have beaten me, like, if he had Dragon Danced 1 or 2 times. But, I don't know, like... But then, like, the game really came down to, like, that superpower. Me kind of landing that superpower and also being able to knock him out with it, so yeah. Overall, I do think that our game with Kevin was, like, somewhat competitive. It was definitely... It was not, just kidding. Like, it was definitely a good game. Like, but towards the middle, but by the end, I think Heatran and Latias just like stole the show. But Buffalant just definitely did its job. So, I think for that we got like, where is it? Yeah, Heatran just got 3 kills towards the end, like, because like he didn't have any way to beat it. So yeah. Then we had our week 7 battle with Emberst. We had our week 7 battle mainly because I think Mav was like busy throughout the whole month. I don't think he didn't respond to me at all, so I was like, you know what, I'll just let him do whatever he needs to do because he's busy, so. But honestly, this is where, like, you could say, like, I could have just brought Scyther and Rotom. Because I honestly just... Spoilers. Like, I'm just saying. That's just sad. Yeah, I know. I probably am the reason why Latias got banned, but I know. It's whatever at this point, but still, it's kind of funny that, like, I just had to set up, like, toxic spikes, and, I think the whole time I was prepping for Honchkrow, and as well as the fact that he didn't have any toxic spike absorbers. So if I had set up T-spikes and got rid of Honchkrow, then Latias just did work. And it literally just did. And like, I did bring stuff like Flame Charge Heatran with Flamethrower. This is probably the only Heat set I thought of. As well as this defensive Crocodile set with Rock Tomb, with Pursue. This was for Victini, I believe. And also I brought the worst Fairy type in the game. And I think I got this Manaphy set just for, like, you know, being a defensive, being able to set up screens and whatnot, so yeah. Against Mav, I think this game should have been a wake-up call for what was to come, because I think Mav was definitely like the one guy that could have probably beat me with the team comp he had. Like, his team originally was, I think, was far scarier compared to what it was now. With Excadrill, with the Orm, he had Pyroar and Verzian. But I think he still would have brought the similar squad that he had for finals. As you can see, this was my Lottie set. I brought Defog because I actually felt that Pex was coming. And I was like, you know what, I might as well just bring Pex like this because I don't want to set up with CM. I'd rather just, you know, just go with the just removing hazards while threatening Pex. And I had to bring like a Spadef Girder, which I did bring the same set. Like I think I brought most of the same team, just different EV spreads here and there. So yeah, I brought Crocodile, Scarf again. I think the only thing is like, yeah, I think Scarf Crocodile with Moxie just really didn't work against him. I even told him that like he didn't have any ground resist. I probably shouldn't have told him that, but it's whatever. And Florges with like with Toxic Aromatherapy Wish. I put Toxic because wearing down stuff like Hippowdon was very important for me, and Aromatisse. And to be honest, I don't know why the hell I changed it for the other team because I'll talk about that later. But and Heichan was the same. I think the only thing is I had Earth Power just to hit Pex, and Blue was like fast spells. So yeah. So I think we won that one barely because I believe Snorlax just destroyed, not destroyed, but it just punched a hole, like a vital hole, and like I think Mav could have won that via like good prediction here and there, but I think we were able to outplay him here and there, especially on the Z move. Like, especially once we were able to let him hit like Crocodile with his Z Ghostium, then with Crocodile, then I was able to get the momentum I needed just to win, and I just steamrolled with Crocodile and Groder in the end game. So yeah, I think the hardest game that I literally prepped for was Kevin, because Kevin was probably like the one guy that I thought would actually beat me. And I felt with Nav at the time, I was like, I already know what to do, and maybe he'll probably get beaten by like, like he had like a good amount of luck versus some of the other teams, and I felt like I don't like there was a chance I'd face him in finals, but it was like I didn't take it as seriously, so yeah. So regarding finals or playoffs, I already talked about this team, so but I do think want to touch on some Pokemon that did work. Like Florges with Pixie Plate was probably like the best innovation I've thought of throughout the playoffs. Probably the best play like Mon of the season. One of the better sets I had. Mostly because like I like the fact that it had like extra power, and the fact that like with the Pixie Plate and Modest Nature you're able to two-shot Landorus, which is huge. Alright, so where were we? It's been a while since I stopped. So I think I was talking about Kevin. My time facing Kevin or whatever, so for the semifinals for Kevin, I really didn't. I think this was by far the hardest one for several reasons. Because aside, well, the battle, but like it was in terms of prep, this was by far the hardest one because one thing I noticed with this team, and I guess this is just from my own team building, is that if like I don't know, it was just because of the matchups, or I felt it was strongly due to matchups in this case, and the fact that like certain Pokemon that I drafted for this season was whether it would be like um whether it be like um the Scyther by Inferior, or the Rotomo, which I traded for. I feel like most of this team was on. Well, I think the only difference I made was adding Girder in, helped me against the Scrafty. But yeah, but like throughout my battles in KCBL, I felt like sort of playoffs, I felt that I was boxed in, and it really came down to like I really didn't think it could. I really think part of it did came down to team prep, because I know Kevin had Z move with Zen Headbutt or Z Zen Headbutt in mind just to be able to kill Girder. I don't know if that kills my girder, but it was definitely something that could have, done amazing versus me. But then again, this coverage would have been very wonky. I mean, it would come down to the same situation. But yeah. But then again, oh shit. Then again, I did have Manaphy with my Z move, but which, I think this was probably the most radical change I've had all season, because all season I was pretty much running a very hyper offensive Manaphy team, or not hyper offensive, but like a bulky offensive. I literally just said the reverse right now, so I was pretty much running a very very defensive Manaphy squad, or Latias Manaphy core, and with Heatran and Forges as my defensive core, Manaphy Crocodile as my wall breaker, even sometimes Latias is in the middle, and then filler. So whether it be like Girder, uh, Crocodile, not Crocodile, but like Kofakugas, Buffalon, or whatever. But I think that core between Latias, Manaphy, Florges, Crocodile, and Heatran. Later, Girder was like the sixth mon of my team. So yeah. But regarding this team, like I rarely ran like something like, let's say, this set, and this set actually worked out very well against Kevin because I was able to nuke down Clefable. And Clefable was one of the biggest threats to my team, and once I got rid of Clefable, I just felt a lot at ease with the matchup at hand. I didn't really ran it towards against Matt because I felt that he had plentiful amount of revenge killers with Raikou and not Entei, but Artana. So yeah. But with this set in particular for Kevin, like he pretty much had a very slow team, and I had to like, and I pretty much was like pretty much forcing him like to say, well, you're gonna have to sack 2 Pokemon with this, or you have to like send in your revenge killer immediately, which he did with the Scarf Roserade. It was pretty weird running Surf over Skulls, but I felt like Surf was needed for the power, especially since Surf plus Rain Dance meant that Z Surf meant that I could OHKO any standard bulky Clefable that's not especially defensive. But it really came down to what set what Kevin had, whether it's like Unaware or Magic Guard. So, and I honestly felt that he would bring I think Charge Beam Cosmic Power, which was something that really scared me. And I think last minute I changed. This is where like I realized, you know what, I have to make a change with my Florges. And though this wasn't like a lot of investment that I had originally. Like I had like I think max, but then I realized I need a little bit more defense CVs. So yeah, and a little bit of split def. So yeah, I could have ran like a standard cleric set, but I felt this set was very nice with the fact that it was able to two-shot Landorus and two-shot most of his team, bar Milotic, and I think Scizor. I do admit the crit on the Scizor mattered, but I don't think it really changed much. I think it just gave me an opening. Like, if anything, I think like that just gave me the option to go back to Manaphy. It would have been the same thing, basically, just me switching back in and out with Heatran and Manaphy. I don't really think, and his Landorus is a double dance set, so it really came down to like whether he preserved Landorus very well, and I was able to do enough damage to Landorus like both times. I think it tried to switch, like it tried to set up and then just went for Moonblast 2 times, and I was like, yeah, you're not getting me. So yeah, I did so much damage with the Moonblast. I think 60 or 59%, which is really good. Good damage, and it was also just to catch Clefable on the switch in, so it does around like 49 to like 45 or something around there. So had min damage, but like honestly, I wanted to have a more like I wanted to have even specs, but then I wanted to have all these utility options as well available to me. So that's why I just felt that Florges, I think you have to do something with it, especially. You have to kind of like differentiate Florges from its sets. But I do think that it really came down to like this game really came down to how well he was able to deal with like the rest of my team. And honestly, like I think yes, the crit mattered, but I think it would have been like a back and forth up until whether Manaphy was able to break through something. I think Scissor would have been the first to go, or Clefable, or even Roserade. If Roser was the first to go, then he would have been screwed because then like Manaphy just destroys his team from there. Like because he wouldn't have something to revenge kill me with, and I would just set up rocks. I would like taunt the poison the thing. Scrafty would have been annoying in Clefable, but to be honest, um, I think he also brought T-Wave on his Clefable, but I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna bring Rain Dance. So yeah, and having that Z move at hand versus the Clefable would have been nice, and everything else. Because I really don't see how, like, aside Milotic, how everything survives like a +3 Surf or Rain Dance, or even Z Surf in the rain. And I did have rest because I wanted to have like a self reliable recovery. So yeah, it's really nice to run like this set once for once because like it reminds me all the times I usually run Manaphy back in Gen 6. But sometimes like certain matchups I just didn't have the time to. So and I did take a risk doing this set. So yeah, I think Charm Latias was also very nice because like I was able to reduce the damage output of Scrafty. Really nice, but honestly, I should have just had like Surf because it would have been funny just to smack Scizor. So I think he was actually Liachi Berry from what Kevin told me, and not Sea Fly or whatever. And Crocodile just didn't do anything. He didn't steal any burgers. Heatran did its job as well as Girder. So yeah. Now, regarding finals, even though we lost finals in a 2-0, I strongly think that wasn't this. I didn't have that. I had defog. Um, I pretty much I had defog on this like Florges. The one thing I really like want to stress is the fact that this move was pretty much. I feel like defog like Florges pretty much screwed me over. Like because if I had something like let's say Toxic or Hell, like even Protect, then I would have a very good vital Pokemon available to me. But honestly, I stuck with Defog because I felt like maybe for that one turn when Pex comes in to set up T-Spikes again, I could go back into Manaphy and attempt to set up a sub on it. And yeah, and just go up and attempt to win. Now, thinking back at this game, I feel that I made several mistakes throughout this game. Obviously, the biggest mistake was actually staying on Kyurem, or Kyurem, or whatever, how you pronounce it. And I stayed in on Kyurem on the AV set, knowing... And the reason why I did it was because I really didn't know what moveset it had. And a lot of it was because it just felt like... There's like three things that happened. Like, I was battling while some people were I had people, well, come into the place I live, and it's kind of annoying to like battle around the time when people, you got the service people or whatever, especially when it's your day off. But it's like I didn't really expect them to come, but it's whatever. I like visitors, but it didn't really help that like I planned the battle on the day that I felt they wouldn't come at all, and I was like, oh great. But I didn't want to like leave Mav like I didn't want to tell Mav, hey, I gotta postpone this game. So I didn't want to feel like, oh, I'm just doing this because of buying time for prep or whatever. Honestly, I would have brought the same team though. But I think maybe like the one thing that might have changed was my mentality, and maybe of course it's time because of I do like whenever I do have extra time to prep, I take the advantage advantage of it. So yeah, maybe I would have realized this, but I don't know. But I think I would have brought the same team. So um, but point is like I will stress that if you have a lot of shit going around, try to battle when there's no one around or when you have little to no like involvement that day where you could just be focused. Like of course like there's also personal stress and personal worries here and there that anyone can have. But I think in this case this was one of those battles where, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I feel like um it did influence how I battled, but at the same time it not too much because I think I would have lost either way. Given the team I brought. Maybe mentality wise, I probably would have went to, I don't know, but like because there were a couple plays that I still really I'm still trying to grasp why I did it. But at the same time, it's like like the I think the Manaphy one against Kiram was the one that I really like. I'm kind of kicking myself because I'm like, that's not me, in a sense. Because I would never like I told myself don't ever set up on Kiram. I even told that in my own with the person or even the people that told me that when I was prepping with that oh don't do that, but I did because I just had a very stupid mental lapse if you ask me. So like I said, like Girder would have been amazing because of course I have like a lot of like Spadef on it, so with the Violite, and I could just recover at block items. But most importantly, I would have been able to remove items because Aromatisse comes in. Guess what I click? Knock off. Hippo comes in. Guess what I click? Knock off or Drain Punch. And that's why I feel like this game really stinks because I could have done a little bit like some things here and there where I could have just won differently. I could have won this game in a different way. Just having Girder involved much earlier and not having Floor just die like that. I do think that the Spadef drop, I think like also the Spadef drop on Floor just kind of mattered, and more so like in terms of like even though it didn't matter in a sense, because I think I got two shotted with Shadow Ball. Like if I went, oh no, 3-hit KOs because I went for Wish. But like, just seeing the Spadef drop kind of just, I kind of lost it in the sense that like I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Because I kind of felt, and at the time I didn't even calc, whether it was specs or not. And I think that was the big issue right there. Like obviously the Manaphy play, the prep here and there, but I think prep wise, I think we did okay, but it was just nothing we could do. Like there was just nothing we could prepare. Like in terms of like him breaking a very bulky offensive team, there was no way in hell I could like prevent him from breaking a very fat team with like that involved Toxapex, Hippowdon, Snorlax. There was no way I could prevent that. He had that advantage to himself, and I was pretty much, like I said, boxed in. Like, and also Kira. He also had Kira, and I felt that he was gonna bring it. So, I should have done damage calcs. I think that's pretty much the main lesson in this game because, really, if I'd done damage calcs, then I would have played differently. And he didn't even have Ice Beam from when I looked at the game, and it just, again, it kind of ticked me off a little bit that how I played, but I got over it now because I'm just like I feel like this is the one league where I feel that it just like I remember saying that one battle a while back where like I think it was 3 years ago where like I was in the finals of this HGC tournament. And all I have to do was just attack the Pokemon. Like I literally won, but I accidentally clicked protect again because I didn't pay attention. And I think the same thing happened with me when whether that tournament was kind of a clusterfuck in of itself in terms of timing and like I just got tired and I just like I'm just gonna click protect because I did not pay attention to my own damn move. But yeah. Um, so moral of the story is basically always battle when you're actually ready to battle. Because I feel like that's pretty much what screwed me over. Like I wasn't that whole day was just terrible from my own like personal perspective. In terms of battling, I think I battled like one other person. I think Karen from PFA, and I did lose, but it was a very close defeat in a sense. It was a very tight game, but to be honest, I think that loss was like acceptable. It was like, I'm already in playoffs. It didn't really matter much, and I did lose like 1-0, so it's not a 6-0 or 3-0 even, so it's not like oh. And there was a lot of 50-50s involved, so I was like, I'll give him that. Oh, so yeah. However, this game felt obviously this is finals. Like I do think that Mav like prepped very well, but at the same time, it just I really feel that it really came down to like my own play style, like me just making really dumb plays, like the Manaphy one, setting up with Manaphy, setting up with Florges. No, not setting up with Florges, but like Florges. I think I shouldn't have ran defog at all, but it was a very like hard sell because I wanted to run Calm Mind Latias and I wanted to run defog Florges because I did not want defog on Latias at all. I wanted Calm Mind and I wanted Dragon Pulse because I felt that the by the way, this is a mega because for some reason we still do custom battles and I have to put it like that, so yeah. um I probably should have ran like a lot of Spadef or attack investment on Latias, but that's something that I think is like it's like one of those 50-50 things. Maybe I could have like ran like a little bit less bulk and more attack power. I don't know. It's like one of those things where it's like what ifs, and I'd rather not get into it. So yeah. So let me just flip back to it. I do think that we could have won the game. Like I've said that like multiple times, but of course it really came down to like prep. It came down to how Mab brought his team and what I think it really just came down to three things really. Both my prep and Mav's prep, which I think in that way Mav kind of prepped better in the sense that like he didn't bring exactly the things I prepared for, like Snorlax and Toxapex, which pretty much meant that I had a dead move on Florges. Like it pretty much meant that I had like only 3 moves on Florges because obviously none of my Pokemon really they don't give a damn about rocks really. So if I had Toxic on Florges, this would have been a lot different. Like I would have Toxic the Hippo, I would have Toxic the Aromatisse, and he would have been screwed. Like Mav would have been really screwed. I like and if I had kept the Manaphy alive the whole game, then yeah, up until where it just had to be sacked, then yeah. I do think that like having Calm Mind on Latias was the better play. I could have put Defog, but again, like Hiram and Zork were like very like I thought those two were very likely would come. Like, and again, like this Manaphy set like was very much tailored just to set up on the Snorlax and the Toxapex because it like I don't have Scald, I don't have something in which like that would like trigger Snorlax's facade or whatever the hell it is. So pretty much meant I always set up on like a body slam or a facade, and I just attempt to two-shot it. So yeah. Same with Toxapex with Psychic and whatnot. So and Heatran, I think the only change I made was like obviously the EV spread, but it wasn't that much. I added 1 point because apparently it was just like I realized that I got outsped by Adamant Armaldo, so and I had Flash Cannon just because I wanted to hit the Aromatisse and the Kyurem. So I had a feeling that like Kyurem was gonna come this game. So again, Florges, there was not really much I could have done here. Like maybe if I had like protect plus toxic, that would have been a very hard prediction. Like that would have meant that I would have to respect aroma. Like that means I'm pretty much disrespecting Toxapex the whole game, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna get rid of that notion that he doesn't have Toxapex. I feel like him just having Toxapex on his team as Snorlax pretty much forced me to like bet for those two, and it just had he not had Toxapex at all or any Pokemon with Toxicplex, I think this and no Spike Pokemon in general, Florges would have ran Toxic for sure, and the game would have went far differently. So yeah. So in a way, Toxapex did help Mav prep better against me because I am pretty much forced to acknowledge. Because I remember, like, I battled a guy with both Toxapex and Mantine. I forgot his name, but like, I think it was Winwook. But like, for some reason, he had both of them, and I had Manaphy at the time, and I had to choose between Hidden Power, Electric, and Psychic. And that's pretty much how I felt. Like I couldn't really, and yeah, the funny part is I could have swept him, but I picked the wrong move. I picked I think Hidden Power Electric, but he brought Toxapex, so he could just use Haze over and over and over. And Mantine was far more like I felt like Mantine was far more likely, and it was really annoying in the sense that I can't that those are very that definitely like prep can really come down to 50-50s at times. Like, what do you think is more likely to come, and whether it's gonna be this Pokemon or that Pokemon or whatever. And this is the one situation where I felt like, you know, there was nothing really much I could do, and just bring what you think was like, you know, standard. I think that's what I did. I just felt like, you know, I'm just gonna bring standard, you know. And to the degree it almost worked, but the problem was these two just kind of lost. Like, not having Protect or Toxic on Florges meant like nothing in a way, and not having a way, and also screwing up on against the Kira was just, really terrible on my end. So yeah, like Gerda did have bulk up because I didn't want to have a way to set up for an end game. I could have ran Toxic on Gerda, really. That's probably the only other thing I would have considered, but I felt bulk up was better, especially if I got paralyzed or toxic, poisoned or scald or whatever the hell it was. Maybe I would have been able to set up and like just go ham. So yeah. And Crocodile, I put toxic, but to be honest, there was no way. I honestly don't think, like, unless your name is Garchomp, unless you're named Garchomp, there is no way you should run toxic or stealth rocks if you're scarfed. Well, then again, maybe not toxic, but like the thing is, like, I felt like there's like I wanted to keep Crocodile alive for the end game, but obviously, it kind of failed in that regard. So yeah, because like I didn't really have a way to break. Like honestly, that's the one thing that I noticed. If you notice this team, it had a bunch of stall breakers and like maybe a wall breaker and Manaphy, but all of them relied on setup in a way. They all relied on setup or something, and I think I pretty much botched this game as soon as I just went with the Manaphy. And I know I've said this like over a billion times right now, but like I think had I just went to Girder, the game would have been a lot more different. But then again, that game would have been much more different than the one we have, and it's like, who knows? Maybe I would have won, or maybe I would have lost. So I mean, it was a very close game, nonetheless. It really came down to him just, whether or not I was able to break down Hippowdon, and Hippowdon was just too bulky for my team to break. So, again, having removed leftovers would have been nice. Or having Toxic would have been also amazing, because then he would have just gotten worn down, and it would have just been like, I think if I had gotten rid of Hippowdon during that turn, or when I went for, Latias with Dragon Pulses, I think that would have been like, that would have like sealed the game in my favor, maybe. But then it's like a lot of 50-50s with Kartana, with Banette. Like, there's a lot of 50-50s in play. So if I got rid of like um like the Hippo went through the turn where I had like a +2 combined with Latias, and Hippo was already like around 50% or 54%. Like, oh, by the way, that turn was actually I think he had a 45%. No, I had a 45% chance to knock him out there. I had a 55% chance to live. So it was kind of like, yeah, the roll was in his favor, which you factor in the crit in my favor as well. So 55% for him to live or not. So, and if I had got rid of Hippo, this game would have been a lot more easier for the end game. So yeah, I think I didn't. That's the one thing I didn't really think of, like how important Hippowdon was for his defensive lineup, and also I think it was just a perfect storm of stuff that just came down to like all these little intangibles that just gave him the win. So like this was pretty much a dead move, and that I think this is the one situation where I feel like one move just pretty much. I know Kevin is. I've talked with Kevin like multiple times with this, and he's told me, I could have beaten you like if I Dragon Danced and if I had one move the same, but like I really doubt that he could have beat me because I had a Manaphy, and I probably would have preserved Manaphy, but I don't know. So the problem with that is like there's a lot of what ifs in this game, I feel. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. And overall, I do feel like we had the better record overall. So, and it took like a lot to really botch this game, and I feel like that just happened. So, I feel like it took a lot of issues just for me to botch this game, like the timing, the way I played. Like I think the timing and the thing again, the timing was just like, I brought that upon myself. So, but then again, there was no way in hell I went to hell I probably battled. Like I think if anything, like I probably would have battled around if the best available time would have battled would have been next week of which would have been like a few days from like when I'm recording this video. So around like the 6th, the 7th, around that time. That probably would have been the best time for me to battle. So, yeah. But there's not really much I could do in this situation because, like, it was just like a lot of timing issues, really, and the fact that this team and let me just go on like one more topic, which I'll stop talking about the finals battle, because I think you guys are probably annoyed with me about this. So I feel like this team in general, and I know I've said this a lot, I really didn't like this team, to be honest, because I felt that it was very, very, very like limited to the roles that you had to run with. Like, of course, this team won games. Like, I won't deny that. Like, I had the best record overall this season, and I played very well most of the season. I feel like this is one of those teams where I just felt that there was just no way in hell that I'll be able to bring certain Pokemon. I know I touched upon this like earlier in this video, but like having the Buffalont, the Scyther, and the Rotomo, these guys really didn't do much at all, because like the matchups presented to me at the time, they weren't able to do much. Like not even as options. I always felt like I was boxed in using these Pokemon. So I know that people will say, "Oh, you could bring some dumb heat set or whatever," and I'm like, "Oh yeah," and then give yourself a better opportunity to lose. So yeah, so I brought the best sets available that gave me the best chance to win. So yeah, that's pretty much how I feel like about every game. Like I always bring the best sets available for me to win. So yeah. So overall, to end on this video, this is pretty much my final stats. Latias got 14 kills, 4 deaths. I think that was probably the best Pokemon overall this season. So don't quote me on that, because Hippowdon might have just surpassed it, getting like 5 kills. Manaphy was kind of a hit or miss this season, but it got rid of the Pokemon it got rid of, so yeah. Same with Florges. Atron was surprisingly really good this season. Crocodile was amazing. And Girder was amazing as well, so I would like to give like shout outs to Buffalont when it did came in. It did the work as well. Crocodile did amazing this season. Probably the best Pokemon on my team, aside Latias. And then like Rotom and Scyther. Unfortunately, I wanted to bring Scyther and Rotom at least once this season, but you know, there's not really much I could do. Girder was amazing. Like during the 4 games I brought it, Girder was amazing. And only died once, of course, in finals. So yeah. So anyways, that's I believe KCBL, and I've already talked over like 30 or 50 minutes already. So if you like hearing me ramble any more further than this, then yeah. But here's one last thing I'll say. There will be a season 2, and I will be joining that league. So hopefully, I'll be able to win that season or whatever. So, I'm definitely gonna try to build a better squad than this, because I feel like this was very boxed in. It was okay, but like at the same time, I felt that this team was not. It just felt like an 8 or 7 month squad. So, well then again, that's on me. So yeah. So anyways, if you guys enjoyed this journey in the KCBL, even though we had the best record, we lost in finals. I guess it was a bittersweet ending, but giving us our first loss in finals, but it's bittersweet, so we'll bounce back. So anyways, next season I think it'll start probably around November. So hopefully you guys enjoy when that comes out. So yeah, so or watch when that around the time that like starts up. So yeah. So again, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. So see ya.